When it comes to electric vehicles, the White House has been snubbing Tesla, the best-selling electric car brand in American history. And its fans and CEO Elon Musk aren't happy about it. And they're taking a stand. The administration's lack of recognition of Tesla's status as the EV giant has resulted in an unjust treatment of the company. The president, instead of reflecting on and learning from their errors, proceeded to make another one, and skipped mentioning Lucid in his latest Rebuilding Our Nation speech. What impact has this had on the business? Is there anything investors should be aware of? Is it going to have an impact on LCID? All this is to come, so stick around until the end. Welcome back to NewVehicleMedia, your go-to channel for EV stock. Quick reminder, subscribing's free, and liking the video helps YouTube suggest similar content. Comments are loved and featured in upcoming videos. Before jumping into why Biden failed to mention Lucid, we need to go back to the roots of why he didn't mention Tesla, and all the tension between Biden and Musk. For months, there's been increasing hostility between Biden and Musk. The first major blow seems to have been the ceremony where President Biden signed a new executive order for 50% of new cars sold in the United States to be electric by 2030. Tesla was not invited, which was seen as disrespect by both Musk and many Tesla supporters. The event, on the other hand, announced U.S. manufacturers such as Ford and General Motors making a commitment to becoming 50% electric by 2030. Tesla was years ahead of any traditional manufacturer that was invited, but they weren't even considered. Then, the Biden administration, influenced by the United Auto Workers Union, pushed for reform of the electric vehicle tax credit to include an additional $4,500 credit per electric vehicle produced at a unionized factory, which happened to be the same manufacturers that were invited to the event. Many Tesla enthusiasts saw this as criticism of the business, given that it's the largest maker of electric cars in the United States and was the first mover in the EV industry. Still, the union automakers were given the subsidies. Musk went on to criticize Biden for quote-unquote being controlled by unions. Things began to deteriorate even more when President Biden made the unquestionably ludicrous comment in which he credited General Motors CEO Mary Barra for quote-unquote electrifying the whole auto sector. Since then, Biden and his government have made a number of similar statements. They seem to have difficulty even acknowledging Tesla when it comes to electric cars, regardless of the fact that the business is the largest manufacturer of electric vehicles in the nation and plays a significant role in the government's ambitions to reduce emissions. The mounting tension resulted in Musk tweeting at the president, urging him to name Tesla, and his supporters responding with a petition and even a billboard in Times Square to push the president into doing so. And then this happened.
And Intel isn't alone. Since 2021, companies have announced investments totaling more than $200 billion in domestic manufacturing here in America. From iconic companies like GM and Ford building out new electric vehicle production to Tesla, our nation's largest electric vehicle manufacturer, to innovative younger companies like Rivian, building electric trucks, or Proterra, building electric buses, which I saw at a virtual tour last year when I met with the CEO, went virtually, and they really impressed me. These companies joining Intel, bringing microchip manufacturing back to America after decades of decay. From Texas Instruments to Samsung in Texas to TSMC in Arizona.
President Joe Biden finally recognized Tesla for the first time during his administration, recognizing the company's position as the nation's biggest maker of electrified automobiles. It was sandwiched between shoutouts to legacy automakers General Motors and Ford, as well as smaller EV companies, Rivian Automotive and Proterra. But one thing he forgot to mention when calling out these names was Lucid Motors. So, why didn't the president mention Lucid, General Motors, Ford Motor Company, Tesla, Rivian Automotive? What do the names of these 4 electric vehicle brands have in common? All 4 of them got specific callouts from President Joe Biden at his recent Rebuilding Our Manufacturing to Make More in America. The previous Tesla issue can be backed by the essence that the manufacturer was not unionized. But when looking at these names by the president, you also hear Rivian, which is also a non-unionized younger startup. So this manufacturer is not in a union argument cannot be said for Lucid. If that is the case, then why did the president not mention Lucid Motors? The answer to this could be in the ownership structure of the business. The PIF owns more than 60% of Lucid because of its investment in business. That means the PIF will be the controlling body for the business. But this does not remove the fact that Lucid is an American business. Rawlinson himself made it very clear on a number of times that Lucid is an American business that is publicly traded on the New York Stock Exchange. Despite this, the firm was not mentioned in the address. So, does this suggest that President Biden dislikes Lucid in the same way that he was accused of despising Tesla? Or at the very least its CEO, since he avoided mentioning the company's name for over a year? Is this a good reason for Lucid investors to panic? Barely. Regardless of whether or not the president mentioned Tesla, the company's stock didn't fall. The same will be true for LCID. In the grand scheme of things, it doesn't really matter what the president thinks about any one electric vehicle maker. What concerns here is whether or not the general market likes the vehicles. And with Lucid Group having sold out its whole first manufacturing run of $170,000 Dream Edition Air Electric luxury vehicles, it seems that the general public enjoys Lucid's automobiles rather well. If this remains true, and if Lucid can find out how to turn its reputation into profitability, the company will be in good shape. For investors, it's less important who gets their names mentioned on the White House lawn and whether they have their names mentioned at all. Biden's pro-labor stance isn't likely to shift anytime soon. Of course, this may have a detrimental impact on non-unionized automakers, but when there is widespread support for EV, it's unlikely that the person in power will get away with misusing his or her authority. But as always, I'm interested in hearing what you have to say. Is it necessary to draw a distinction between manufacturers who are unionized and those who are not? Let us know what you think by leaving a comment down below. Tuan Lu feels that Lucid has already had excellent looks and quality from the start. He says he'll own the Lucid car someday in the future. That should wrap things up for today. Keep in mind that subscribing's still free and liking helps YouTube recognize your preferences. Thanks for taking the time to watch, and I really look forward to seeing you in the next one.